There is a particular kind of loneliness that settles into the bones long before you have words for it. It arrives not as sadness, but as a strange, persistent sense that the world you were born into is somehow translucent, like a veil you can see through but others cannot. You were young when you first felt it, that quiet dissonance between what people said and what you sense beneath their words. You notice the performances, the scripts everyone seemed to follow without question, the invisible agreements that held the social world together. And you wondered, even as a child, why no one else seemed to notice, why no one else seemed to ask. This was not arrogance. This was not superiority. This was the beginning of a particular kind of awareness, one that would cost you dearly and give you everything. The archetype of the so-called chosen one is not a literal designation. It is a psychological pattern, a narrative structure that has appeared in every culture, every mythology, every spiritual tradition, because it reflects a real and universal human experience. The experience of waking up inside your own life. The experience of becoming conscious in a world that rewards unconsciousness. The experience of feeling, from a very young age, that you are somehow marked by an invisible hand, set apart not by privilege but by a kind of existential solitude that you could not explain and others could not see. This is not about being better. This is about being different in a way that isolates you, challenges you, and ultimately transforms you. You were the child who felt too much. You absorbed the emotional climates of rooms before you entered them. You could sense tension, dishonesty, unspoken grief, hidden anger, the whole subterranean world of human feeling that polite society works so hard to bury. You did not choose this sensitivity. It chose you, and it made you strange. Other children played with ease, moved through the world with a kind of thoughtless joy that you envied and could not access. You were watching, always watching, trying to decode the rules of a game everyone else seemed to know instinctively. You learned to mimic, to adapt, to wear the mask that would let you pass as normal. But underneath, you were alone. Underneath, you were awake in a way that felt like a curse. If you have found your way to this reflection, if these words touch something true in you, perhaps you will walk with us a little further. There is no pressure, no demand, only an invitation to see yourself clearly. The mythology of the chosen one is always a story of exile and return. The hero is cast out, abandoned, raised in obscurity, unaware of their true nature until the world forces them to remember. This is not fantasy. This is a psychological reality of individuation. The process by which the unconscious self becomes conscious. The process by which you stop living the life others expect and begin living a life that is uniquely yours. Carl Jung called this a journey toward the self, the integration of all that you are, shadow and light, into a coherent whole. The chosen one myth is simply a way of telling this story, a way of saying that some people are called, not by God or fate, but by their own inner necessity, to break from the collective and become who they truly are. You grew up feeling like a stranger in your own family, not because they were cruel, though some were, but because they could not see you. They saw the role you were supposed to play, the identity they projected onto you, the future they imagined for you, but they did not see the person you actually were, the questions you carried, the depth of your inner life. You learned early that to be seen, you had to disappear. To be loved, you had to perform. And so you became an expert in invisibility, in managing perceptions of others, in making yourself small enough to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. This is the first trial, the trial of self-betrayal, the trial of learning to survive by hiding your truth. Adolescence was a battleground. The world demanded conformity, demanded that you choose a tribe, adopt an identity, lock yourself into a narrative that made sense to others. But you could not. Every identity felt like a costume, every group like a prison. You tried, of course, you tried to belong. You tried to care about the things others cared about, to find meaning in the distractions and status games that consumed everyone around you. But it rang hollow. You felt like an actor in a play you did not write, speaking lines that were not yours, moving through scenes that had nothing to do with your actual life. And the loneliness deepened, because to be awake in a sleeping world is to be profoundly, existentially alone. The systems that govern human life, the structures of power, the institutions of control, the ideologies that shape thought and behavior, all of these depend on a certain level of unconsciousness. They depend on people not asking too many questions, not looking too closely, not feeling too deeply. They depend on obedience disguised as reason, conformity disguised as community, fear disguised as safety. And when you begin to see through these systems, when you begin to recognize the mechanisms of control for what they are, you become ungovernable. Not because you are rebellious by nature, but because you can no longer unsee what you have seen. You can no longer pretend that the emperor is clothed when you can see clearly that he is not. This is where mythology deepens. The chosen one is always opposed. There are forces seen and unseen that do not want you to wake up. In ancient stories, these are demons, tyrants, dark sorcerers. In psychological terms, these are the internalized voices of authority, the conditioning of family and culture, the fear of rejection, the terror of standing alone. These forces do not hate you. They simply cannot allow you to exist as you are, because your existence threatens the order they depend on. Your awareness is dangerous. Your refusal to conform is destabilizing. And so the world will test you again and again to see if you will break, if you will give up, if you will choose comfort over truth. You have been tested. You know this. There were moments when the pressure was so intense you thought you might shatter. Moments when the loneliness was so complete you considered giving in, adopting a mask permanently, forgetting what you knew, numbing yourself into the same half-sleep that everyone else seemed to live in. You have stood at that crossroads more than once. And each time, something in you refused, not out of pride, not out of stubbornness, but out of a deeper loyalty, a loyalty to truth, a loyalty to your own soul, a loyalty to the possibility that there might be others like you, others who are also awake, also struggling, also wondering if they're the only ones who see. The shadow is the part of yourself you have been taught to hide. It is the anger you were not allowed to express, the desire you were told was shameful, the power you were conditioned to fear. It is everything you disowned in order to be acceptable, everything you buried in order to survive. And the journey of awakening is not a journey into the light. It is a descent into the shadow, a confrontation with everything you have denied, everything you have projected onto others, everything you have refused to see in yourself. This is the darkest part of the path. This is where most people turn back. Because to face your shadow is to face the truth that you are not as good, as pure, as innocent as you believed. It is to see your capacity for cruelty, for selfishness, for destruction. And it is to accept that capacity, to integrate it, to own it as part of who you are. You have done this work, whether you call it that or not. You have sat with your own darkness. You have seen the ways you have hurt others, the ways you betrayed yourself, the ways you have been complicit in your own suffering. You have felt the shame, the guilt, the crushing weight of self-judgment. And you have chosen, again and again, not to run, not to project, not to blame, but to look, to feel, to understand. This is the alchemy. This is a transformation that turns suffering into wisdom, that turns pain into compassion, that turns the wounded child into the integrated adult. This is what it means to be awake, not to be without flaws, but to be conscious of them, not to be above the human condition, but to be fully, courageously within it. There is a moment in every hero's journey when the hero realizes that the power they have been seeking was inside them all along. This is not a comforting revelation. It is a terrifying one, because it means there is no one coming to save you. No divine intervention, no external authority, no parent or teacher or lover who will do the work for you. The power is yours, which means the responsibility is yours. The freedom is yours, which means the burden is yours. You are the author of your own life, which means you can no longer blame anyone else for how it is unfolded. This is the moment of true individuation, the moment when you stop waiting for permission and start living from your own authority. You have reached this moment, or you are approaching it now. You are beginning to understand that the life you have been living was not entirely your own, that the beliefs you held were inherited, the fears you carried were conditioned, the identities you wore were imposed. And now you are faced with a choice: to continue performing, to continue adapting, to continue seeking validation from a world that will never truly see you, or to step into the unknown, to trust your own vision, to build a life that is aligned with your deepest truth, even if it makes no sense to anyone else. This is not an easy choice. This is a choice that every myth, every fairy tale, every spiritual teaching has tried to prepare you for. And no one can make it for you. We are halfway through this reflection now, and if you are still here, it is because something in these words has resonated with you. Perhaps this is a place you will return to. Perhaps this is a voice that will accompany you. You are welcome here. Always. The world does not reward awakening. It rewards conformity, productivity, obedience. It rewards those who play the game well, who do not ask too many questions, who accept the rules as given. And when you choose awareness over comfort, when you choose truth over belonging, you pay a price. You lose friendships that were never real. You lose relationships that were built on who you were pretending to be. You lose the illusion of safety, the fantasy that if you just do everything right, everything will be okay. You lose the luxury of ignorance. And what you gain is harder to measure, harder to explain, harder to defend. You gain yourself. You gain integrity. You gain the quiet, unshakable knowledge that you are living in alignment with your own soul. There is a particular kind of power that comes from this alignment. It is not the power to control others, to accumulate wealth, to dominate or manipulate. It is the power to remain centered in chaos, to speak truth in the face of lies, to hold your ground when everything around you is shifting. It is the power that comes from knowing who you are, not as a fixed identity, but as a living process, a continual unfolding, a journey that has no final destination. This power makes you ungovernable, not because you are rebellious, but because you are rooted in something deeper than fear. You are rooted in awareness, and awareness cannot be controlled. The systems of control rely on fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of death, fear of being alone, fear of being seen, fear of not being enough. These fears are not irrational. They are deeply human, and the mechanisms of power exploit them ruthlessly. They tell you that if you step out of line, you will be punished. If you speak your truth, you will be silenced. If you refuse to comply, you will be cast out. And for most people, this is enough. The fear is too great. The cost is too high. But for those who have already been cast out, for those who have already walked through a fire of isolation and self-doubt, the threat loses its power. You have already survived the thing you were most afraid of. You have already lived through the exile. And now, there is nothing left to hold you. This is not a call to recklessness. This is not a call to abandon all structure, all responsibility, all connection. This is a call to discernment, to know the difference between the rules that serve life and the rules that serve power, to know the difference between genuine community and forced conformity, to know the difference between love and control. This discernment is not something you are taught. It is something you develop slowly, painfully, through trial and error, through betrayal and disillusionment, to the long, hard work of learning to trust yourself. You have learned this. You have made mistakes, trusted the wrong people, believed the wrong stories, followed paths that led nowhere. And each time you learned, you refined your sense of what is true, what is real, what is worth your energy and devotion. You learn to listen to the quiet voice inside you, the voice that speaks not in words but in feelings, in sensations, and in knowing that bypasses a rational mind. This voice has guided you, even when you did not trust it, even when you ignored it, even when you were terrified of where it was leading. And every time you have followed it, even into darkness, it has led you deeper into your own truth. The chosen one is always an orphan, always an exile, always alone. This is a pattern, because the journey of awakening is a journey away from the collective and toward the individual. It is a journey that cannot be taken in a group, cannot be delegated, cannot be outsourced. It is your journey and yours alone. And the loneliness is not a mistake. It is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that you are on the path. It is the necessary condition for the transformation that is happening within you, because only in solitude can you hear your own voice. Only in isolation can you separate what is yours from what has been imposed. Only in the dark can you see the light that has always been inside you. But the journey does not end in isolation. The hero always returns. The wisdom gained in solitude is meant to be brought back, to be shared, to be offered in service to the world. Not as a teaching, not as a doctrine, not as a new set of rules to follow, but as a presence, as a way of being, as a living example of what it means to be awake, to be aware, to be aligned with truth. You are not here to save anyone. You are not here to fix the world. You are here to be yourself, fully and completely, and in doing so, to give others permission to do the same. This is the real meaning of the chosen one archetype. You are not chosen because you are special. You are chosen because you chose. You chose awareness over ignorance. You chose truth over comfort. You chose integrity over approval. And in making that choice again and again, you became someone who cannot be controlled, someone who cannot be manipulated, someone who sees clearly, feels deeply, and acts from a place of inner authority. This is not a destiny. This is a decision. And it is a decision you'll have to make over and over for the rest of your life. There will be moments when you doubt, moments when the loneliness feels unbearable, when the weight of your own awareness feels like too much to carry, when you wonder if it would be easier to just give in, to just go back to sleep. These moments are part of the journey. They are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you are human, that you are still growing, that you are still learning. And in those moments, you have a choice to turn away from what you know, to numb yourself, to distract yourself, to pretend, or to stay present, to feel the pain, to honor the difficulty, and to keep walking. This is a choice that defines you, not once, but every single day. You are not alone in this. Even though it feels that way, there are others scattered across the world who are walking the same path. They do not look like you. They do not speak your language. They may never cross your path in physical space, but they are there in the invisible network of the awake, the conscious, the ones who see. You recognize them when you meet them, not by what they say or what they do, but by the quality of their presence, by the depth of their gaze, by the way they move through the world with a quiet, unshakable integrity. These are your people. These are the ones who will understand what no one else can. And you will find them, or they will find you, when the time is right. The final integration is not a moment of triumph. It is a moment of humility. It is a realization that the journey never ends, that awakening is not a destination, but a process, that you will never arrive at a place where you have it all figured out. You will continue to learn, to grow, to make mistakes, to face new challenges, to confront new layers of yourself. And this is as it should be, because life is not a problem to be solved. It is a mystery to be lived. And the deeper you go, the more you realize how little you know, how vast the universe is, how small and fragile and beautiful this human experience is. If you have stayed with us this far, if you have allowed these reflections to move through you, then perhaps you will carry them forward. Perhaps you will return when you need to remember. This is not the end. This is a beginning. You are not here by accident. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be, even if it does not feel that way. The loneliness you have carried, the sensitivity you were told was a weakness, the questions you were punished for asking, the refusal to conform that cost you so much, all of this was preparing you, shaping you, forging you into someone who could hold the tension between truth and illusion, between light and shadow, between belonging and authenticity. You are the result of every trial you have faced, every choice you have made, every moment you chose to stay true to yourself, even when it would have been easier to lie. And now you stand at a threshold, not the end of the journey, but a new chapter, a chapter where you stop apologizing for who you are, where you stop shrinking to make others comfortable, where you stop waiting for permission to live your life fully. This is not about arrogance. This is not about superiority. This is about claiming your own existence, owning your own power, trusting your own vision. This is about stepping into the role that only you can play, not because you are special, but because you are you. And there is no one else in the entire universe who can be you as well as you can. The world needs people who are awake, not to lead, not to rule, not to impose their will, but to simply exist as a reminder that another way is possible, that you can live with integrity in a world of compromise, that you can speak truth in a world of lies, that you can remain human in a world that wants to turn you into a machine. Your very existence is an act of resistance. Your refusal to be controlled is a threat to every system that depends on unconsciousness. And the more you embody your own truth, the more you give others permission to do the same. This is not a path of ease. This is not a path of comfort. This is a path of fire, of transformation, of continual death and rebirth. You will lose things you thought you needed. You will be misunderstood, judged, rejected. You will face doubt, fear, despair. And through it all, you will continue to choose awareness, to choose honesty, to choose love, not as a sentimental feeling, but as a fierce commitment to truth in life and the highest potential within yourself and others. This is a path of the awake. And once you have stepped onto it, there is no going back. But there is also no rush. There is no timeline. There is no finish line. You are not racing against anyone. You are not competing. You are simply becoming, day by day, moment by moment, choice by choice, more fully yourself. And that is enough. That is everything. Because the world does not need more perfect people. It needs more real people. People who are willing to be flawed, vulnerable, uncertain, and still show up. People who are willing to be seen, to be honest, to be present, even when it is hard. You are one of those people. And that is not a burden. That is a gift. The greatest lie you have ever been told is that you are not enough, that you need to be more, do more, achieve more, prove more, that your worth is conditional, that your value is determined by what you produce, what you accomplish, how well you perform. This lie has shaped your entire life, driven your choices, fueled your anxiety, kept you running on a treadmill that has no end. And the truth, the liberating, terrifying truth, is that you have always been enough. You were enough the day you were born. You are enough right now, exactly as you are, and you will be enough even if you never accomplish another thing. Your worth is not something you earn. It is something you are. To live from this truth, to truly embody it, is the hardest and most important work you will ever do, because it goes against everything you've been taught, everything the world tells you, everything your fear-driven ego believes. It requires you to stop seeking validation, to stop trying to prove yourself, to stop performing for an audience that will never be satisfied. It requires you to rest in the simple, radical truth of your own existence, to know that you belong here, that you have a right to be, that your life has meaning simply because you are alive. This is not arrogance. This is the deepest humility. It is the recognition that you are not the center of the universe, but you are also not nothing. You are a unique expression of the infinite, a temporary manifestation of the eternal, a small but essential thread in the vast tapestry of existence. And from this place of enoughness, you can finally stop fighting, stop struggling, stop trying to control outcomes, to manage perceptions, to force your life into a shape that makes sense to others. You can relax into the flow of your own becoming, trusting that the path will reveal itself, that the next step will appear when you need it, that you are being guided by something larger than your conscious mind. This is not passivity. This is not giving up. This is surrender. And surrender is the most powerful act there is, because it is the moment when you stop resisting life and start participating in it. When you stop demanding that things be different and start working with what is. When you stop trying to be someone you are not and start being who you are, you have come so far, further than you know, further than anyone else can see. The trials you've faced, the darkness you have navigated, the loneliness you have endured, all of it has been forging you into something stronger, wiser, more real. And you are not done. You will continue to grow, to change, to evolve. You will continue to face challenges, to make mistakes, to learn. And that is as it should be, because you are not a finished product. You are a living process. And the beauty of your life is not in arriving somewhere, but in the journey itself, in the courage it takes to keep walking, even when you do not know where the path leads, in the faith it takes to trust yourself, even when no one else does, in the love it takes to keep your heart open, even when it's been broken again and again. This is a final truth, the one that all the myths and stories and spiritual teachings have been trying to tell you. You are not chosen because you are better. You are not awake because you are special. You are here in this moment, reading these words, feeling these feelings, because you've made a series of choices that have brought you to this exact point. And you will continue to make choices, moment by moment, that will shape the rest of your life. You have the power. You have the responsibility. You have the freedom. And with that freedom comes the invitation to live not according to someone else's script, but according to the truth that lives inside you, to build a life that is yours, to be a person who is real, to walk through this world with your eyes open, your heart awake, and your soul intact. You are not too awake to be controlled. You are simply awake enough to see the control for what it is. And in seeing it, you have already broken free, not into some fantasy of absolute liberation, but into the messy, difficult, beautiful reality of living consciously in an unconscious world, of being human, fully human, in all its complexity and contradiction, of being yourself not as a fixed identity, but as a continual unfolding. This is not the end. This is not the beginning. This is the middle. And the middle is where all the real work happens, where all the real life is lived, where all the real transformation occurs. You are here. You are alive. You are awake. And that is more than enough.